first knock happened on a Tuesday. I remember because Tuesdays were quiet in our apartment. Too quiet. No parties upstairs, no music from the neighbor across the hall. Just the hum of the refrigerator and the soft tick of the wall clock above the kitchen door. The clock said 12:07 a.m. Knock, knock, knock. 3 slow, careful knocks. Not loud, not angry, polite. I sat up on the couch, heart suddenly awake before my mind caught up. My roommate, Evan, was in his room, door half open, light still on. He worked late shifts and usually stayed up watching videos or gaming. "Did you hear that?" I called. Another pause. Then Evan leaned out of his room. "Yeah, someone at the door." I checked my phone. No messages. No delivery notifications. No missed calls. "Probably the neighbor," I said, already standing. "Or someone at the wrong door." The hallway light flickered as I crossed the living room. That was normal too, old wiring, cheap landlord. I looked through the peephole. The hallway was empty. No shadows. No footsteps. Just the long carpeted corridor stretching both ways. Lights buzzing softly. I unlocked the door and opened it. Nothing. Evan came up behind me. "Anyone?" I shook my head. "No." We stood there for a moment longer than necessary, like we expected someone to suddenly appear. Then Evan laughed, a little forced. "Maybe someone knocked and ran." "At midnight," I said. "College kids do weird stuff." We closed the door and went back to our rooms. Neither of us slept well that night. The second knock came the next night. Same time, 12:07 a.m. Knock, knock, knock. This time, Evan and I both froze. I checked the clock. The red digital numbers glowed clearly in the dark. "Okay," Evan said quietly. "That's weird." I didn't answer right away. My skin felt tight, like it was trying to pull away from my bones. We waited. Nothing else happened. No footsteps. No voices. Just the knock, then silence. I opened the door again. Empty hallway. That night, Evan suggested we stop opening the door. "Maybe it's some kind of prank," he said, "or someone trying to mess with us." I nodded, though something about the knock didn't feel playful. Felt patient, like whoever or whatever was knocking knew we would answer. By the 5th night, the knock felt expected. Still always 12:07 a.m. Still always 3 knocks. We joked about it during the day, made fun of ourselves for being scared. But at night, neither of us laughed. On the 6th night, Evan said something that changed everything. "What if we don't answer tonight?" I looked at him. "What do you mean?" "I mean, we don't open the door. We don't say anything. We just ignore it." I didn't like the idea, but I didn't like the knocking either. "Okay," I said, "just tonight." We sat in the living room, lights off, waiting. The clock ticked closer to midnight. 12:05, 12:06, then knock, knock, knock. The sound felt closer than before, sharper, like it came from just inches away. I held my breath. Evan clenched his jaw. We didn't move. Seconds passed. Then, knock, just one. From inside the apartment, from the wall behind the couch. I jumped up. "Did you?" "Knock, knock." The sound came again, this time from the hallway closet. Slow, careful. Evan stood, eyes wide. "That's not funny." "I didn't do anything," I whispered. "Knock." From the bathroom door. The knocking wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. Carried through the apartment like a heartbeat. The clock still read 12:07 a.m. The knocking moved again. This time, it came from a place that made my stomach drop. A door at the end of the hallway. A door we had never opened. A door I was suddenly very sure had not been there before. "Do we have a third room?" I asked. Evan swallowed. "No." We stared down the hallway. The door was plain. White paint. Silver handle. No decoration. No memory attached to it. "Knock, knock, knock." From the other side. Evan shook his head. "That room wasn't there." "I know." The knock came again, louder now. Impatient. I felt something pressing against the inside of my skull, like a thought trying to claw its way out. "What if it's always been there?" Evan said softly. "No, I said. I would remember. But the longer I looked at the door, the less certain I felt. What if I had seen it before? What if I had just forgotten? Knock. The handle twitched. We backed away together. The knocking stopped. Silence filled the apartment again, thicker than before. Neither of us slept that night. The next morning, the door was still there. Evan tried to laugh it off. Okay, either we're losing our minds, or the landlord added a room overnight. We checked our lease. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, no extra room. We called the landlord. He sounded confused. There's no 3rd room. Can you come check? I asked. There was a pause. Then he said, I'll be there this afternoon. He never showed up. That night, at 12:07 a.m., the knocking came back. Not from the front door, from the new room. This time it was relentless. Knock, 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 over and over. Evan covered his ears. Make it stop. I found myself walking toward the door. What are you doing? Evan hissed. I just wanted to stop, I said. My hand touched the handle. It was warm, like skin. Evan grabbed my arm. Don't. The knocking stopped instantly. The silence that followed felt wrong, heavy, waiting. Then a voice came from the other side of the door. My voice. Why won't you let me in? I screamed. Things started disappearing after that. First small things. A mug, a shoe, Evan's phone charger. Then memories. Evan forgot the name of the street we lived on. I forgot my sister's birthday. The door at the end of the hallway began to look more familiar than my own bedroom. The knocking continued every night, sometimes from the door, sometimes from inside the walls, always at 12:07 a.m. One night, Evan didn't come out of his room. I knocked on his door. No answer. I opened it. His room was empty. No bed, no desk, no clothes, just bare walls, like he had never lived there. I ran to the hallway. The extra door was open. Inside was a room that looked exactly like Evan's used to. He was standing inside, facing the wall. Evan, I whispered. He turned slowly. His face was blank. Calm. Don't knock anymore, he said. It doesn't like that. The door slammed shut. I tried to leave the apartment the next morning. The front door led to the hallway. The hallway led back to the apartment. No matter which way I walked, I ended up back in the living room. The clock still worked. Time still moved, but it always returned to 12:07 a.m. The knocking never stopped. Now it comes from my bedroom door. 3 polite knocks. Waiting. I think the room is empty because it needs me. I think Evan made space for it. The door is warm when I touch it now. I hear my voice on the other side, sounding lonely, sounding patient. Tonight, when the clock reaches 12:07 a.m., I'm going to open the door, because I don't remember what the apartment looked like before, and I'm starting to forget what I look like too.